Welcome, lovely lot. How are you doing? It's so nice to be with you this afternoon for a softer side show. Yes, this is the new home of all things soft craft. If we've not met before, hi, I'm Becky. It's really nice to meet you. And we have got some super duper treats on for you today. I'm talking lucky dips, I'm talking new fabric, I'm also talking demos. We have got the wonderful Colleen on socials today. Hi Colleen. Do feel free to get in touch with us, because if you have tuned into this maybe not realising it was a soft craft show and you think it's not for me, hold it right there. Why don't you stick with us, watch the show, and if you've got any questions, get in touch, because whether you haven't sewn in years or you sew every day, there is something for everyone in this show. Even if you're never planning on sewing, I've even got some little elements that would be good for mixed media. If you do have any questions about sewing, you're in the right place. And hey, why don't you let us know the last time you sewed and what was it that you sewed? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Some of you may well be, well, it was in primary school, 40 years ago. Some of you might have been whipping up something today. So do feel free to let us know. And if you do have any questions, you've got a Becky with the answers. No, not me. I know nothing. We have got the wonderful Becky. What have we got today, Becky?
Hello, nice to be here.
You too.
We've got some really beautiful bits and pieces today. So we've got our builder block of the week, which is a compass gem, which I'm going to be demonstrating. We've got all sorts of other bits and pieces, including a really good offer on bag making dies as well. And we've got that amazing fabric that you've got in front of you, Becky, which is just stunning, isn't it?
Oh, just in love. So in love. And if you like a little bit of a surprise, I've got a lucky dip here. Now, if you are new to Crafters TV, you might think, hang on, the last time we did a lucky dip, it was kind of, when you were at school, right? You might have got sweets or maybe some plastic bits of jewellery. This is like that on another level, because it's crafting treats for all. You will pay just £2 or $2 and you will be able to get yourselves an item such as these wonderful dies for your multimedia. You can use this on fabric and thick cards as well. We have got for you these as examples. You can buy up to 8 of these, and I'm going to guarantee you will get no duplicates. Yep, genuinely, no duplicates, up to 8 of these. But once you get to 8, we may well copy some of them for you. These are all the types of things. I mean, a whole pack of fat quarters. How much would you normally spend on something like that? Easily around the £12 mark, some places here in the UK. No, £2 you have the chance to get these for. So this is your shop opportunity today. If you fancy grabbing them, you don't know exactly what you're going to get your hands on, but you do know that it will be a bargain and also fun, right? It's nice to get a surprise through the post that isn't just, I don't know, a bill you forgot you were going to pay. You've been absolutely loving it already, because 50% of my stock has already gone on that. So if you do want to seize the moment, now is your chance. I popped this up on my Instagram earlier on. I haven't put it up on Facebook. I don't know how to log into my CC Facebook. I need to work it out. But yeah, I popped these up earlier on, and I've already had a couple of comments through, people picking their favourites. If you haven't had a chance to see them, these are all brand new fabrics for us here at Crafters, and they are beautiful. The feel of them is wonderful. And if you can see the gold elements here, they have a luster to them. They are sparkling. Can you see them catching the light just there? So we have got for you your red foliage. Really nice one, this, with those beautiful red colours. Maybe nice for, I know it's a bit of a while away, but things like Remembrance Sunday, for example, would be right nice. We've got 10% of the stock gone on that one. £7.99, don't forget, for the ½ metre. I've then got your red pattern next up. And this again is 10% gone. And this one's got the little centres of the florals in here that have got the gold element to them. Let me remind you, you're buying ½ metre in size, but if you buy, say, 2 sets of a ½ metre, you'll get 1 continuous metre. I really like the idea of this one maybe as a book cover. That'd be lovely. As well as that one, I'm bringing to you the doves. These are lovely. Oh, I'm so sorry. I couldn't help myself. We have got these wonderful swooping doves, a sign of peace, don't forget. Also a sign of marriage. This could be maybe a lovely sort of memento for weddings. Maybe you could make your own little party bags, your favour bags here that will be reusable, you know, saves on things like buying plastic that will then be thrown away. You've got a lovely detail there with the flowers as well. Now we're getting into the blue hues, and these blues are sensational. The Pantone colour of the year this year is almost like a soft purple that will be perfect to go with this because of that variation. So if you do like staying ahead of trends, this is going to be a great set of bullet ones for you. This one here is your blue foliage. Again, you've got those golds darting through in the floral elements here. Then I'm bringing to you your blue pattern. This blue pattern is the one that the lovely Becky worked with earlier on. 10% of the stock already gone on this one as well. $7.99 again. This one is my favourite. 20% gone on this. You have got, I'll fold it out a bit more for you just to give you an idea of sort of the length you're going to get. You have got on here, for me, winter, autumn, spring, summer, all in the trees. It's a beauty, very popular indeed. And finally, you have the blue doves in here. 15% gone on that one. So there's loads of you to treat there's loads that you can treat yourself to. Let me also let you know that we have got some borders for you. Let me just grab them because these are best ever price. And we're going to be having a demo with these. You've got your scalloped and you have got your wonderful chevrons as well. And if you're wondering, what on earth will I do with those? Don't worry. We have got Becky with an answer.
They're really great, aren't they? This was a sample that I found. Look at that. That is really effective. And that's just being, you know, with little, using those chevrons to make that pattern on there. So it's really, really tactile. So that's one thing you can do with these. But you can also use them as little edging strips. So this is a quilt which has been used, this chevron one all around the edge. And that looks really effective. That's a really good way of finishing off your quilt to make it look a little bit different. But with the scalloped edge one, there's a couple of samples here of some bags that I wanted to show you. And again, you know, these are a really good, this is what we give you. We give you these really cool things that are brilliant for a little bit of handicrafts. They just give you a little extra help in making something. This looks really effective. If you were having to cut this by hand, it would be really, really difficult. But look how that finishes that little bag off. And this one too, using some sort of faux leather here. So really, really worthwhile having. And these are multimedia dies, so you're going to be able to use these to go through sort of multiple layers of fabric or very thick fabric. So I am going to use a chevron one. So if I show you what these look like, these are really solid. These are really solid pieces of metal that are going to cut through all those layers of fabric. And I am going to make something that's going to be a bit of a surprise.
Yay!
A little bit of a surprise, first of all. And then maybe you could, if anyone could work out what I'm making while I'm doing it, that might be a good
idea. Yeah,
exactly.
Message in.
Exactly. So I've already cut a piece of fabric and I'm not going to tell you what it's for. But what I'm going to do is I want to make my zigzags, these kind of chevrons, to go all the way around the top. Okay. So I'm going to fold my fabric over this die so it cuts out multiple layers. So I get my plates, I'm using my fabric plates here, and I am going to use a little bit of tape because I don't want it to move.
We have got the fabric plates on the show today. They're on an offer, 25% off, and we've got them for all sizes. So like your junior upwards, basically, we've got them for really good discount on those. So if you have been wondering about it, do feel free to grab them. One thing I will mention is you can use these types of dies with your normal Gemini plates. However, they will etch into it a fair amount and it will warp them slightly quicker. With these, you're absolutely fine. You can go and go and go. So they're on offer. Have a little look at Shop the Show.
So I'll find my little bit of tape. And so I folded that over and I'm just going to tape that onto here. So because I don't want it to move, I'm just going to tape that in place. And I'm going to run it through my machine. And I'm using some of the rest of my demonstration, I'm using some of the fabric that we've got on the show today, that really pretty blue, sort of foliage and the blue doves fabric. And they're really fun, they've been so lovely to use. They really have been a joy. They're so nice and soft. And I was saying before, they feel really lovely, and they smell quite nice as well. Isn't that a bit weird? But actually they're really nice quality fabric. So I've already cut that piece out, and you can just see where I folded the piece. I'm just going to trim that with my scissors. So ideally, when you're doing things like this, you should really give it a bit of an iron and fold those creases so they're nice and sharp, but I haven't done that. So that's my first bit. So I don't know whether that's a bit of a giveaway as to what I'm going to be making.
Maybe. Do message
I don't know
if you have an idea of what surprise Becky's making.
So I've also cut another piece. So I'm using that dove fabric here, and then I'm using some of the patterned fabric at the bottom. So I'm just going to sew these two pieces together like this. And I think I'm giving it away now. I'm sure that people can guess what it is.
That because you know what it is.
But I just thought this thing that I'm making was something that we tend to have disposable ones of.
Yes.
And it's not a mask, before you ask.
Yeah.
And I just thought it'd be quite nice to have something that you could keep each year.
Yeah.
For special occasions.
And use over and over and
Exactly,
over again.
exactly.
Lots of people are telling us the last things they've made. Hello again to Moria, lovely to see you. The last project I sewed was the CC faux red suede and threaders templates for a small bag. Oh, I love that. Hello to Shadia saying the last item I sewed was CC coasters. Ooh, that's a good one too. Laura says I made quilts for my grandchildren at Christmas, as did Evangeline. I made quilts for my grandchildren last Christmas. Smiley face. That's so lovely, and that's the great thing about sewing. You can make things that last, can't you? You
can, and I think when people see that you've spent time making something, it means so much more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There was a news item that I saw. A lady who lived somewhere in the USA, and she was an avid quilter, and she passed away. And it was sort of during COVID, where it was very sort of difficult to do any kind of, sort of a wake or anything like that. And what her family did was they got her quilts, and she had hundreds of them, and they hung them up in the street where she lived, so people could drive by and see all the quilts that she'd made. And there was something like 100 quilts that she'd produced, which I think was a really nice idea.
That is absolutely
gave joy to everybody.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So I've sewn that piece together. Can you guess what it is yet? And then I've already cut out a piece of, this is a piece of interfacing, and this is iron-on interfacing, and I've cut it a little bit too wide, but I'm going to adhere this to the back of this zigzaggy piece. Yes, exactly. So I just want to make sure my iron's nice and hot and give it a bit of a press so it's nice and flat.
Perfect.
And I will need to trim that down a little bit.
Okay, well, whilst you're ironing and trimming, Sharon's got a question. Do the bag dies fit in the Gemini Junior? Thank you. Good question.
They won't, depending on
which one
you're going for. So I think we'd need to check for you. Certainly the backpack one wouldn't.
No.
That one might.
I think that one would. Yeah. You fold it in, basically the dies themselves, although the bag is large than it would be to go through a junior, actually the dies are a half cut, so you fold the fabric and place them on. I think this one would fit in, and this one is the, which one's this one called?
That's the satchel.
The satchel,
one.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the satchel one would, and I think the circular one would too.
Yes, I think the circular one is surprisingly small, given how big the bag is. You're right, but yeah, I think for the backpack one, you may struggle a little bit.
I think the backpack's, well, I know the backpack's a bit too big for the junior.
Because you've made it, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Well, I'm halfway through making it, and halfway through making it, I went wrong. So yeah, we'll carry it on at some point. I'm just going to carry on doing it wrong. Well, I'm just going to do the inside wrong as well.
You're making it unique, I think, is what you have to think of.
Yes, thank you.
So, you know, half these things, you know, you have to try these things out to see whether they work or not. And that's all part of the discovery, isn't it? You know, it's not necessarily about producing the perfect item at the end. It's about the doing and the process that you're going through.
The fun and the journey.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll only do it wrong once.
Hopefully. But
I mean, I'm not going to guarantee that, if I'm honest. I know what I'm like once I put a soap opera on. I get very, very distracted and confused.
Well, quite often with the snap fasteners, I find it difficult to remember which way round they go.
Yeah,
and so now I take a photograph, and I have to keep referring to the photograph, because if it's something that you don't use every day, you might not remember. It's a little bit like you know, I don't know, maybe driving on the other side of the road. If you haven't been on holiday for a while, if you've not done that, you sort of forget how to do it, don't you?
That's a good point. Yeah, really.
So I think you just have to be kind to yourself.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Not expect miracles, because you know we're all infallible, or not infallible.
Jenny Briggs is saying, I'm intrigued as to what you're making. Have a guess, Jenny.
Yeah.
Go on, have a guess. Jenny also says the last thing that Jenny made was an oven glove.
Oh.
That's great, actually, isn't it? If you did want to do homeware, that you could make kind of oven gloves that match the rest of your decor. There's something very chic in that, Jenny. I love it.
Or like a new, you know, sort of new house warming present, that kind of thing. That's a lovely thing to do.
Really sweet.
I'm just going to trim the edges here. So this is my stabiliser, and it's just well, not stabiliser, it's an interfacing. It's just to give a little bit of depth and structure to what I'm making, because we need it to be a little bit, what's the word? It needs to stand up a little bit. Am I giving it away yet?
Rigidity.
Pardon?
It's got a bit of rigidity.
Rigidity. So I'm going to take, this is the lining piece, so I'm going to place my lining piece over the top of what I've done here. Now what I have done, and this is top tip, I've made my lining piece longer than this piece, because you want to match up your points. Like so. So it's just a little bit easier if you just make it a tiny bit bigger, a tiny bit longer rather. And I'm just going to pin it in place, or you can of course use your quilting clips if that's what you've got. And then we're going to stitch around the zigzag.
I get you. If you love the look of these pins, I may or may not have them on the show later for you. And by that I mean I have. And the pot they go in.
And the magnetic pot is great, because even if you don't use it for keeping hold of them, by dropping it on the floor to lift everything up that's fallen down is really quite useful. So we're going to just do this. We're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance like we always do, and I'm just going to be quite slow and methodical about going around. So as I sew down to the point, I'm going to make sure my needle drops in place, then I'm going to lift up the foot, and then I'm going to keep that needle in place, and then I'm going to sew down. And I'm going to do that for every single point that we've got here. So do you sew a lot?
Not as much as I'd like to.
No? What was the last thing you did apart from the backpack?
Oh, okay. A skirt. I made a skirt was the last thing I did. But no, I'm only quite new to it. I sort of started teaching myself just before lockdown. It's something I've always fancied trying. But I was a little bit afraid, because I think sometimes when you are taking on a new craft, if you don't really know that much about it, the terminology can throw you off.
Oh, totally.
Sort of the first pattern I got, when it said sort of right side together, I thought it meant like the right hand side together, and I've just couldn't work my way around it. When something says right side together, it basically means like the two nice bits of pattern face each other. But the instructions don't tell you that. You're kind of expected to know it. So I was put off a little bit at first. But actually, once you know really simple little ways around things, it becomes so much fun, doesn't it?
It does, and I think it can be quite time-consuming hobby to do, but you can really sort of you're accomplishing something, aren't you?
Definitely.
And producing something, and I think it's nice to have a new craft. We were talking the other day with some of the other craft experts here, and we're all saying, oh, we all like this craft, we all like that craft, and I think actually all of us like all crafts because it's just what we find interesting.
Yeah.
And it's what we do.
Definitely.
So I had this idea that last year I was going to make all my clothes, I wasn't going to buy anything, and that didn't actually happen. But I do like the idea of making all my own clothes.
I think that's a great idea because you can make it fit yourself perfectly.
Yeah.
You don't have to troll around the shops. You can choose the exact fabric and design you want. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah.
One day I'll get round to it. So I'm not far off finishing now. So I've just stitched around all the zigzags and down the side, and then I'm going to sew it down the bottom most of the way, but I'm going to leave a little gap for turning out.
People are guessing what they think it might be. I would like no reaction on this, Becky. Keep it cool and casual.
Okay.
Nicholas says, is it going to be a crown? Laughy sideways face.
Oh.
Margaret says, I think it's a Christmas hat, Becky.
Oh.
Sandra says, Becky, is it a cake frill?
Ooh.
Rebecca also says, is it a crown? I missed the beginning. Hi, Rebecca. We're trying to guess what it is. I like your guesses. What do you think of the guesses?
They're not bad, are they?
Yeah.
I was actually, do you remember those kind of frills you used to get on cakes? You used to get them on a fruit cake at Christmas time, didn't you?
The posh ones you did.
Yeah. Right. I think
So I think you've just given away that it's not that.
It's not that. No, it's not that. But I did think about that as I was stitching it around. So I've sewn around all the edges, and I'm going to trim these bits. Do you remember I said that I made the lining a little bit larger?
Yes.
So I'm just going to trim that away. And then I left a little gap here, which I'm going to turn out in a moment. So can I tell people what it is now?
Go on.
You're all right. It is a crown. Oh, sorry.
Excuse me. It's
Sorry.
all right. We'll edit that bit out. We'll edit that bit out. It's not a live show, Becky. Don't worry about it. And the item Becky is making is, drum roll please. This is where you come in now, Becky.
It's a crown!
Whoa! I did not see that coming. I love it. Well done, everyone who guessed right.
So I'm just trimming those bits here. Now, with these points we've got here, it's worth giving a little bit of a trim just in the point here with your scissors. You can trim the edges, and you can sort of trim off the top point here. It just means that everything's going to lie a little bit flatter when we turn it out.
Because it's not sort of as bulky.
It's not, no. So we would turn it out through here, like so, and it takes a little bit of fiddling around to get all these bits out. But I did think, you know, when I was thinking about what to make with these borders, I mean, I love that cushion. I think that cushion is so cool with all the little, they're almost like, you could make like a mermaid kind of,
like scale tail.
Yeah, that kind of thing. But I just sort of thought, no, when it's kids' birthdays and things, they quite like a crown. And actually, let's be honest, I mean, it's my birthday coming up in 6 months, but I like to let people know in plenty of time, but I like to wear a crown. You know, and I'd like to wear a crown all the time, but they give me funny looks when I go into the supermarket if I wear a crown. So I wondered whether this might be the way around I could start a new trend. Everyone wears a crown.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And it's fabric crown, isn't it? So it's a little bit more relaxed than your full-on standard jewels.
Yeah, this is your everyday kind of crown.
Yeah.
Rather than your party crown.
Exactly. Yeah, this is strictly a 9 to 5 kind of crown.
So you can see I'm sort of pulling it out, and obviously when you've got these little points here, you might just need to put your pin in there to pull them out a little bit, so you get this nice sharp point. And then once we've finished everything off, we would sew up the little gap, little hole here, and then sew around the edge. So here's one I've done earlier. So you can see here how that looks. So I've pulled out all these little points, and I've top stitched all the way around the edge like so. So now all we need to do is to put some ribbon, if I can find my ribbon, there it is, around here so we can tie it around the head. So I want it longer than the actual crown, So if I cut a piece this length, and I find my halfway point, let's put that there, and I'm going to pin that and then stitch it along that join of those two pieces of fabric. That's there, do another one over here, and then all ready for a party.
I love it. And it could be, you know, birthday crown that you get, and, you know, they get one every year, and then, you know, by the time they're 12, they have 12 lovely crowns. Could you make it longer and even do like a sash style with it too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those little border dies, there's so many options, so many different things you could do with them. So yeah, absolutely, I'd go for a sash, go for a bigger crown. I mean, you could go for multiple layers, multiple points on your crown. You could really sort of go to town with it. Go to town with the crown.
I think that's beautiful. Go to town on the crown. Yeah, it's great, that.
It sounds like it should be some kind of song, doesn't it?
Yeah, it should. I mean, not a very good song, but one nonetheless. Cindy is saying, I'd like to know exactly in inches how large a metre is. Width and length, please. Two friends just lost special people and one quilt. I want to buy appropriate length for her to make a pillow. Thank you. Thanks for that message, Cindy. Good question. So how many inches are in a metre? So a metre is 100 centimetres here in the UK. It's 2.5 inches to a centimetre.
So how much was in a metre?
Yes, correct.
It is 39 inches.
39 inches.
Go for 39 and a half.
39 and a
Yeah.
half. 39 and a half inches. I hope that helps you, Cindy. And what a lovely make that what a lovely gift you're creating. Thanks for letting us know.
So I'm just stitching the ribbon on here. So any kind of fabric ribbon, don't use paper ribbon because that won't hold. And there. And then we'll just get rid of those threads. Here. And then,
Oh, yay! Look
look
how
at
cute
it.
that is.
It looks a little bit like I've got a bandage from hospital, but
No.
it's it'll be work well for a crown for a child.
I think that is adorable. Thank you so much
No
for showing
problem.
us that. Isn't that really nice? It can be a border, it can be a crown. Imagine doing that as maybe a table runner, for example. There's loads you could do. You're getting these two different shapes, and just to give you an idea, they're around about 1 inch in depth, each of them, going down slightly. And you have got in here your 6 inches by basically 1, your 8 by basically 1, and your 9 by 1. So those are the same sizes on each of these. And you can layer them up so that you can make them, well, kind of as long as you like, really. So if you do want to seize the moment, you're saving £12 or saving $15 today. So a great opportunity to seize the moment. Now, you will have noticed that the lovely Becky was using some accessories earlier on, and there are some elements that you need when you are sewing. So if you are new, this is wonderful. Here, I'm bringing to you a tote bag and a rotary cutter. Your rotary cutter is going to cut through different layers of fabric. It's a 60mm wheel that it's got on it. It includes safety features, and with this one you get 2 blades, which is fantabulous because that is going to keep you going and going. The tote bag itself has got handy sections. It's got areas here for the likes of your pens. Don't forget, we've got some markers on our Get It Got It Good today. And you've got the lovely pockets at the front. But wait, it doesn't stop there. I have got for you pens, not just any pens. These are your heat erasable pens. That means whether you're using the red, the black, or the blue, you're going to be able to see it on your different fabrics. As soon as you apply a bit of heat, that will just rub away. It will just go, it will disappear like magic. Not stopping there either. I am bringing to you now your bobbin clamps. Now, for anyone who's new and hasn't seen the bobbin clamps and the bobbin holders, why are these so useful, Becky?
I've actually got a couple here. I use a lot of blue thread and lots of different types of blue thread. So you've got your little piece that looks like this, and that goes in your inside your thread in the middle, and then you pop your bobbin on the top here, and then you have a little clamp that goes there. So it means that your threads and your bobbins are all kept together, so you don't have to get them all muddled up. Because I mean, it doesn't matter massively. It depends what you're doing actually, whether your bottom thread is a different colour. But because I use lots of different shades of blue in my work generally, I like to have everything sort of matching as much as possible. So it's just a way of keeping everything nice and tidy and all together. Often you have bobbin cases, and they get, you can't remember what colour that was, or you keep your bobbins in the little pocket of your machine. Again, they get sort of tangled up with each other. So this is a really cool way of keeping them nice and tidy.
So you have got the ease of doing that, and it means you're less likely to lose things, which obviously in the long run saves you money. You could use these over and over, and there's 20 of each. Then we've got, oh, we love them, our pins and magnetic tin. Now this is fantastic because, as you can see, you've got really nice big ends to the pins, which means less likely to run away and hide. You've also got a massive amount of pins in this ditch, which is magnetic. So even if you spill your pins everywhere, you just hold the mat and like magic, it will take them all up. So less likely to lose any, and of course much easier to work with. 50 of the flat butter the pins you get in there, so that's coming with it. By the way, free and free and free. I've also got our wonderful clips, which I know we'll see in use later. These are fabulous. Those also are free, and I've got for you some embroidery scissors as well. Just like when we craft with paper, we say make sure that you use the right kind of scissors and make sure that you save those scissors. You don't go cutting anything else with them. It's the same with the likes of your embroidery. These are super precision, go to all of those nooks and crannies, making everything look professional. Let me remind you, free, go in there. Free, go in there. Free, free, free. Free, free, free. All you're paying for is this and the bag itself. Isn't that cool? It's a great way to get involved. You are saving more than you are spending, and we love that. Saving $55, $39 or $70.70. Isn't that brilliant? So not just that for you with the opportunity to grab. I've also, whilst you're there, got a sneak peek at a lucky dip. £2 or $2. I can't guarantee what you are going to get. All I can promise is that if you get 8 of these, after that you might start seeing some duplicates. But if you buy up to 8 of these, you could get the likes of this, or the likes of this, or the likes of this, or the likes of what? All of these. Fat quarters, you could get threads, you could get cut out dies that look really nice. This is really popular at the moment for like layering fabrics up. You have got the opportunity to get all of these, so please do treat yourself. Again, once we get past 8, you might get some duplicates, but for £2 each, I mean, come on, for something like that, you'd be happy to pay £30, £40 in some places. £2. So do feel free to seize the moment and grab however many you wish. Quite a cool one just to have as a little stash as well to dip into for friends as well. We have got our build a block of the week now for you. I had a sneak peek of this earlier on with our wake up call. There is a 30% discount with this build a block. And if you've not seen this before, it is a wonderful technique that is quick and easy with the use of these dies, but the finish can be really exquisite, can't it, Becky?
It can, and it's one of those things that being able to die cut the shapes means that you've got this fantastic accuracy every single time. These have got lots of points on it, lots of sort of angles that are really difficult to achieve if you're cutting with a rotary cutter or cutting with scissors, to make sure you get that exact cut every single time. So this is the compass gem, and it's from Joe Avery. So this is showing you the type of, this is a block. So the block, we were talking about this earlier today, and if you don't know what the terminology, a block is the square that makes up all the other parts of your quilt. So that's the first design. So you work in blocks. You'll see when we talk about build a block, that is a square that we're going to be using to incorporate into something else. So you can see from this sample here, this is looks like a faceted gem as far as I'm concerned, but then I'm always thinking about jewellery. So this whole thing makes a block, and you make up each individual section, and then you sew these two sections together and you make a little square, and then you sew these other squares together, and that's what makes the total block. So that's effectively what you're going to be making. And you can see from here, this is a quilt that's been made with all of those blocks put together.
Oh, great!
Look, isn't that beautiful?
Lovely.
So lovely. And this design really does lend itself to being used with plain colours, without patterns. Because when you're making one of these blocks, you're going to be using 11 different pieces of fabric. So you can imagine if you're going to be using patterns, it's going to be quite busy. And actually, you probably find that using plain fabrics is the way to go. In the pack, you'll also find three different types of projects you can be doing.
Great.
And these are just using the same shapes, but you're making a totally different kind of look to that, aren't you? And this is like a little pendant that you can hold up and, or like a flag kind of thing. And then we've got a bag here. Once again, all using the same shapes, but just using them in a slightly different configurations.
Great.
So I'm going to show you how they work. So I did show this earlier today, what it looks like. So you'll get them in the pack with the details of how to make everything. And when you take them out, this is something I should have taken out before, you will see that these are multimedia dies. So these are the heavy, thick, sort of coppery colour dies. So these are what we use for cutting through fabric, because it will cut through multiple layers of fabric at any one time, and it will cut through thicker fabrics like a denim or a leather or a suede, that type of thing, in order for you to get the shapes. This is really useful for you because you can cut through 8 layers of plain cotton fabric, and in no time at all you can have everything cut out ready to start sewing. So in the little booklet it will show you the details about how to use it. It includes talking about the grain line, which is how the fabric is made and what angle you put the fabric on, and it will talk about how much of each fabric you need, how many pieces to make up the blocks. So you just run them through your Gemini machine in the same way that you would do normally. So you would use your fabric plates if you have them, or you use your sandwich, which allows you to use these multimedia dies. So yeah, it's very, very simple to use. So I've cut some out already so you can see what they look like. So we've got some white ones. I've sort of followed pretty much the same details that are in this sort of guidebook, so the same sort of colours. And you'll see here it shows you how to put everything together. So we're going to be going like this, and then this one goes not like that. Which way round is it going to go? Isn't this awful? Can't get my head around what is going on here, like that. So you can see that this piece here would go like that, and you would sew that together, and you start building up your design. Now you'll see on the bottom of each of these triangles, you don't have a sharp point, and that's deliberate. The dies are being created, so they cut away this little point for you, and it means that when you finish sewing, you don't have to trim away any of the leftover bits of fabric. So it helps you sort of save your fabric, but it also makes it easier. So we try to make it simple and quick and fun for you to start putting your blocks together. So you start here, and you start then building up the blocks like so, and then you sew 2 together to make a piece like that.
Great.
And so very, very simple and quick to do. And as long as you stick to your the seam allowance, that's a 1/4 inch seam allowance, everything should match up.
Lovely.
So we've got one here which I had put together. So this is one of the blocks, and this is what it looks like with all 4 blocks sewn together.
That's
so you can
great.
see I've followed pretty much the same kind of colours, and these are using all our plain fabrics that we have in stock. So you've got a mixture of all those different colours that we've got. So I'm going to give it a quick iron before I attach it
Okay.
I'm going to make a cushion cover.
Lovely. Well, whilst you're ironing, Laura had a question. She says, would you suggest rotating the plates, as in the metal plates, especially the B plate that goes on top? I need my plates to last.
I do, yeah,
Yes.
I do when I remember. I mean, I think like everybody, you're supposed to rotate your mats as often as you can, but I quite often forget. But yeah, I do try to remember to do that, and it's worth doing. Yeah. So we've got, I've got this is one of our strip rolls here, which is I've pulled apart. So I've got one of the pink strip rolls, and I'm just going to use that to go around each side of this square here.
Lovely.
So I'll pick a colour, any colour, and I will just give these a quick iron before I start sewing them together. So I just thought this would be a quick make with this this block, because the block in itself is such a pretty shape. Having those different facets, I think, is such a lovely design. It would be quite a nice thing to have a cushion just to pop on the sofa. All those bright colours, and something a bit different, and a quick make for you to put together in an hour or so, or in the afternoon.
Great.
I'm all one for making things in a weekend if I can get away with it.
Yes.
You know, something that takes a really long time, I sort of lose interest after a while, and I tend to lose interest and then give it to my mum for her to finish off. There's lots of jackets and things I started making and then handed them over to my mum.
Oh, but this is the great thing about dyes like this. It genuinely makes everything so much quicker.
It does, and I find the actual working out of something, you know, if I was trying to work out the angles here and how to cut it, that I'd find that a really difficult thing to do. And I think some people love that. They love that kind of the math side of things. I don't. I like to just have good results as quickly as I possibly can.
Yes.
So I'm just going to sew along this side here. I will put a couple of pins just there. There we go. And so I'm just going to be using, just very simply, I'm going to be doing the top and the bottom and then either side of the cushion cover. There we go. And again, using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, just here. And just using any sewing machine. You don't need to have a special sewing machine to do something like this. You don't need lots of fancy stitches. We're just using an ordinary 2.5mm stitch and an ordinary sewing machine foot. Now, if you are sewing lots of quilts, you're doing things that are really thick, you might want a quilting walking foot.
Okay.
But apart from that, you just need to use your normal bog standard bits and pieces.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the first side done. And you can see that's going to act as the border that goes around the edge of my cushion. So I'll do the same with this side. And you can see I'm not being precious with how big my fabric is, because I'm going to give it all a trim afterwards.
Perfect.
So this will be this is a good kind of thing to do, you know, if you're just starting to sew. Making cushions, I think, is always a really good starting point. I think last week someone was saying, you know, where do I start to sew? And a cushion, you know, if it goes wrong, it's not too onerous to sort of start again. But when it goes right, you can see it every day, and you can think, I'm pleased about that.
Yeah, definitely. Also, always a nice gift, really, a cushion. You know? If you've been to someone's house, you know their colour scheme. It's lovely.
It's a lovely idea. I think my husband hates cushions. He doesn't like them. I have a thing about lucky cats. So we're coming up for Chinese New Year, aren't we?
Yes, Tuesday.
So lucky cats. So my family are all Chinese.
Yeah.
And so I have lots of lucky cats all around the house, and he hates my lucky cats. I mean, he really doesn't like my lucky cats. So what did my mum give him for Christmas this year?
A lucky cat.
A lucky cat cushion.
Yes! Oh, we love her.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's the first one he drops on the floor when he's moving all the cushions off the sofa.
Did he pretend to like it?
He did. I mean, he does like it in that, you know, it's lovely to have a cushion that's been made for him.
Yes.
Like you say, you know, it's really nice that somebody's taken the effort. But he does realise that my mum is sort of having a little bit of a dig at him with regards to having it as a lucky cat.
That's so funny. How brilliant.
I'm going to carry on. Putting this head. I love these bright colours. I think
They
they're
look great.
really sort of you know, we want nice bright colours now. When it's a bit
Definitely.
grey and a bit dreary, you want to see some kind of brightness, don't
Something
you?
with a bit of oomph. Sally said, loving the show. Will Becky share the pattern for the crown? It's wonderful.
Yeah, of course, no problem. I'll get on to that when I probably tomorrow. I won't be able to do it today unless I get really good Wi-Fi on my journey home.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It'd be lovely if people stop making the crowns.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
idea. Are you doing anything special for Chinese New Year?
I actually went out with a friend for in Chinatown this week already for our early Chinese New Year. I mean, we would normally have a big party with all my family, but it's just a little bit difficult at the moment, and it's quite hard to cook for a whole load of people. One of my uncles used to do all the cooking, or one of my aunts, and no one's quite got a house big enough to do it at the moment.
I see.
So I think we'll just have
A low key.
yeah, we'll have I have got decorations which I need to put up, and we'll have some, you know, sort of fireworks and that kind of thing.
Lovely.
And obviously Chinese food, because, you know, otherwise it'd be wrong.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And my children are quite keen, so they have lucky packets for Chinese New Year. So they're little
those the red envelopes.
Yeah, so my children are both saying, oh no, we get lucky packets. And my daughter's at university, so she's not even at home. And she's sending her boyfriend over to collect her lucky packets before he goes back to university.
That's brilliant.
That's crazy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good on her.
Yeah, yeah. So they all like their lucky packets. I mean, it's quite nice to have. A few years ago, I was in China, just leading up to Chinese New Year, and that was quite exciting, seeing all the decorations in the streets and that kind of thing. But it was, I can't remember, it must have been 2019, which I think was the year of the pig, and there were lots and lots of Peppa Pig things everywhere.
Oh,
so Peppa Pig was sort of celebrating Year of the Pig.
Oh, that's brilliant. Year of the Tiger, is it this time?
I think it is, yeah.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Oh, lots of tiger print.
Yeah, that would be great, won't it?
Yeah.
So there we have the outside of the
Lovely.
cushion, and then what I would do is I've got some, this is wadding, and it's iron-on wadding. I would place that here in the middle and iron it on.
Was it sometimes known as batting in
Batting,
the US?
yeah, batting and wadding, effectively the same thing. I always feel wadding is much thicker. I tend to use the term batting, but my mum doesn't understand that. She thinks it's wadding.
Yeah.
I use an iron-on one, but we have, just for ease, but we have our sprays that you can use as well
Great.
to make it adhere. And so this would be the main front of my cushion cover, and then I would just do an envelope back. But you can see how effective that looks just with those plain
Definitely.
fabrics,
Yeah.
and using that very intricate die, really, when you've got 11 different types of fabric being cut there, but it's really effective look to it.
It is gorgeous, and I think anyone would be chuffed as peas to have that in their home. Becky, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It's lovely, that, isn't it? If you would like to treat yourself to it, you've got the Builder Block opportunity. Today, we have got a massive discount deal on that. And just to give you an idea of another kind of project that you can create, we've got this lovely cushion here as well, just to give you an idea. So, lots and lots of fun to be had with these ones. 30% discount discount on that. That's not the only treat-a-roo I've got for you. I have got some brand new fabrics, and I want to give you a stock update if I may. We have got the red foliage. This is new to us here today. We have got the red foliage, which has got the gold accents on it. If you like a lot of gold, this one and the blue version has the most gold on it. $7.99 or $11.99 for the half metre. But of course, you can multiply that. On this one now, 40% gone. So about that much. 40% gone on that one today. So seize the moment. Let's have a look at the red pattern now. This one we have got in a blue version as well, and I genuinely think they go fantastically together. Really nice unisex design here. A little bit sort of Day of the Dead, I think, with this. I think it's these almost like skull-shaped smiling faces we've got here. It's lovely. That one is 20% gone, so about that much. If you do fancy that one, let's bring to you some doves or some birds of peace. In this one, you've got about that much gone. 30% gone on this one today. Lovely for weddings, christenings, as well, of course, Christmas crowns. We're bringing to you $7.99 again. Then I've got my blue foliage. This is exactly 50% of the stock gone on this one, okay? So this is popular. No surprise to me whatsoever. The gold, which is like a shimmering gold, really stands out there. Blue pattern I've got. Now this is the one that the lovely Becky explained on the show earlier on today. 30% of this one gone, so please do seize the moment on that one too. My absolute favourite. Foxes and trees from autumn, from winter, spring and summer. There's a song in that. Do, 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 do. I think it's already taken. We have got for you these beauties. Again, very popular, this one. In fact, oh man, that's about 70% in it. Gone, 70% gone, only this much left if you do want it. And then I've got your blue doves, which 30% has gone on that one. If you want to seize the moment, now is most certainly your chance, especially on that tree one. I hope there's some left for me, but I hope you managed to get it as well. I grabbed some storage boxes for you because these are phenomenal. These are Simon's boxes, otherwise known as your stash and stack. If you've not seen these before, they're wonderful. Nice and sturdy, really useful. You've got the grip section here, which means that they interlink with one another beautifully. You've got the elements here where you can actually choose and decide where you want those partitions to be. If you've ever bought a box and the partitions are just sort of steadfast, you might only be able to use them for a certain type of thing. But with this, I can do anything. I've got pens in there, paintbrushes in there, perfectly stackable, they're going nowhere. I've got all of my cosmic shimmer goodies in there, from my tiny pots to the largest. You can put pretty much anything you set your mind to in here because there's just so much usability. All of these separation compartments you get for free, and you get within the deal, should I say, but you don't even have to use them. You don't have to. You could store magazines in here. You could store memory books in here. You have got the chance to seize one of these for $11.99 or 3 for £30 or $50. So do feel free to seize the moment on those. Do you know what? Great as well, because they look like they'd go under, like in your boot of your car for maybe emergencies. So grab those ones whilst you can if you want that discount deal. Now, we are going to keep our eyes peeled on the stock updates of this fabric, especially this one, which is getting low now. And whilst we do that, feel free to treat yourself to any of the following: a biscuit, a checkout, or a coffee. There you go. Each of those. Choose which one you wish and get on it. Now, we'll be back after this.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters' companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% of your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every pound, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
We've had to make some changes to our shipping charges and we want to keep you informed. With continued pressure on domestic shipments around mainland US, we've had to temporarily increase the cost of our regular 6 to 10 working day standard shipping service from $9.99 to $12.95 and our free shipping threshold from $100 to $125. We also have some really great news to tell you. We've introduced a brand new shipping service called Express Delivery. This is a fully tracked door-to-door service which takes 3 to 7 working days and costs $19.95. This option means you'll get your crafty goodies in your hands sooner, meaning less waiting and more crafting. We're also upgrading delivery services for our Gold and Platinum Club Inspire members who will now receive priority delivery on all of their orders. And if that wasn't enough, we've upgraded these orders to our new Express 3 to 7 day service. Your patience and understanding throughout this very busy time has been amazing. So we'd just like to say a huge thank you and we look forward to chatting to you again very soon.
Quick Buy, all your crafting must-haves in a flash. Put away your tape measure and fabric scissors. The Threader's fabric cutter offers accuracy and precision with every cut. This handy tool slices through fabric in a guillotine style. Its ergonomic design features a comfortable and protective handle, so it's safe and easy to use whether you're right or left-handed. Its 45mm rotary blade will cut up to 6 layers of fabric at a time, so your sewing, quilting, and upholstery project times are cut down to size. It's equipped with a measuring guide in metric and imperial for a perfectly accurate cut every time. The built-in grid ruler has 30°, 45°, and 60° angle lines, so you can cut fabric on any angle, including the bias. Quick Buy, all your crafting must-haves in a flash.
Welcome back, how are you? It's lovely to see you today. This is Soft Decider. My name's Becky and we are about to save a stitch. If you have not heard of Save a Stitch before, it's basically bargains. I am going to be giving to you 50% off on some things and up to 75% off on others. Isn't that fab? Now, I want to let you know you've got a great discount on this. You're saving over 30%. And what we're going to be bringing to you here is 3 sets of 1/2 meter of fabric that beautifully work well together. You're going to buy 2 and get 1 for free, all right? So, for example, with this one, you're going to buy this and you're going to buy this and you're going to get this one for free. So this one here is your Dutch Heritage Mustard. Limited stock on that one today, 30% off. Then I've got the blue hues. So again, I'm going to buy this one, which I love. It's got a touch of the twiggy about it. There's something nicely 60s about this one. I'm going to buy this one, I'm going to buy this one, and I'm going to get this for free. Again, 1/2 meter. Very limited stock on this one now. I mean, grab it whilst you can. Limited indeed. Now let's bring to you a little bit of a fancy floral. With this one, I'm going to buy this really beautiful colour, very much similar to Pantone's colour of the year, so that's fashion forward. I'm going to buy that one and then I'm going to get this one for free. I love this one. Vintage and beautiful. It is limited stock again for you. No surprise, you're buying 2, you're getting 1 for free. Let me bring you another with purple hues. Anyone a purple fan? Me too. For me, it's the colour of a hug. And I'm bringing to you in this the wonderful purple background with those blossoms. Great for mixed medium. If you've got any flower stamps or dies, pair it perfect. As well as that, I'm going to be getting this one. And then I'm going to get this one for free. Again, limited stock. And then finally, on my fabrics that are buy two, get one for free, I have got pretty pastels. With this, it's the same pattern, but it is the same sort of pattern with the florals, but different colours. I love this one, fresh salmon pink. I'm going to buy that. I'm also going to buy my green because it's great for foliage, but I'm going to get the blue for free. Every single one of these you are getting saving over 30%. So well worth treating yourself if you want to stock up on fabric. And trust me, if you're new to sewing, you will become slightly obsessed. So it's definitely worth treating yourself to fabric whenever you can. Next up, let's talk about pattern guides, if we may. And what I've got with the quilt cutting pattern guide is a real useful way of creating shapes and designs that are linking together very, very easily with very little fuss. You can also use this with your paper craft. My suggestion is that you would add to this cutting elements, but what you will do is you will sew through this so that you can create intricate designs really easily. As well as that, you're going to be getting your quilting gloves, which are kind of, it's like a anti-slip, let's say, gloves. Really useful with a tool like this. And then I've got my heat erasable fabric pen. So a little bit of warmth on them and it magically disappears. You are saving 10% on this in your Save a Stitch today. So if you do want to create some accuracy in your quilting, you've got it here. Then I'm bringing to you as another Save a Stitch the opportunity to get your hands on your rotating quilting guides. Now what these are, they look a bit unusual, I'll be honest. The first time I saw them, I couldn't get my head around them. They are so easy to use and they create things that look like you have been working in quilting for 50 years, genuinely. So this is what you're going to get, but dependent on how you layer these and use these will depend on the overall finish you get. So you can make all of these designs and more just by using this. It's your mandala that I'm bringing to you here. Then for this one, I have got for you your petal. Again, looks like a simple shape, but check this out here, how you can do almost these spirograph designs with this one. Then I've got for you as well your kaleidoscope. Your kaleidoscope one, interesting shape. You could just use it by itself, but when you use them over and over, you can create really different designs, and it gives you all the instructions and elements that you need to know about these at the bottom. It is a massive, mega saving. Take a breath. You're saving nearly £54 or $75. These are just $17.99 or $24.95. I should have another one of these, shouldn't I? Should I? I can't see another one, no. Has someone been robbing them? Oh, it's all right. We'll have a natter about it in a bit. So you have got all of these opportunities. They are fabulous. Becky, these are good fun, aren't they?
I haven't stolen them. I promise. No, these are really useful. So the quilting pattern guide, this is sort of a really useful tool for you to place your fabric underneath and then mark out these sections here. So I haven't taken this one out of the box, but you've got little grooves here. And this helps you in particular when you're going to be using these rotating quilting patterns here. So if I show you an example, this is a piece of fabric, and we've used the quilting reference guide and we've used it and we've marked out here with our tailor's chalk or with your heat erasable pen. And it means that when we start to quilt, we can see where we need to move everything to and make sure everything is equal. So it's a way that, you know, you're not doing free motion machine embroidery, you're using this guide to create this design. But by using this guide, first of all, it just makes sure that everything is symmetrical. So if I show you what the quilting pattern guide looks like, this is taken out of the box. It's slightly rough here. It's got a bit of a texture to it. When you place it on your fabric, you would, if I put it on here, it's probably, no, you can't see it there, put it here on your fabric. You will mark it out, you'll see these grid lines here, and those are the lines you're going to line up against the lines you've drawn out here. And it means that when you're going around with your machine, you'll put a different foot on your sewing machine. You're going to put a free motion machine embroidery foot on that. And if you've not got one of those, if you find out who your manufacturer is of your machine, you will be able to buy one separately. And they look a little bit like, they've got like a little hook, little round circle at the very bottom of them, generally. Now, some brands of machines, their free motion machine embroidery foot is an oval shape. Now, the oval shape won't work. You need a completely circular one for this. And you change it onto your machine, and then you put that that sort of round sewing machine foot in this space, and you move your sewing machine around up here, and then you would leave your needle down, and then you would rotate your pattern according to the marks that you've already placed on here using your rotating, your quilting reference guide. So these two things work in perfect unison. This will help you make sure that everything is kept symmetrical, and these will help you get these amazing shapes. Now, as Becky was saying, there's lots of different shapes you can get. So this is using one of the designs, but if I flick through, you'll be able to see all the other patterns that you can get. So nice. They really are that you could have a very, very simple quilt that you've made, just something in plain white. You could quilt over it with a colour or even white again. And these are almost obsessive. You know, you were saying about them being like a spirograph kind of thing. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel that they are. And I remember how addictive it was using those.
Oh,
so
completely.
Really. So you can get this fantastic feel very, very simply. Now, these quilting pattern guides are really fundamentally useful for somebody that doesn't have a long arm quilt. So a long arm quilt is a great big machine, a super duper machine that you put all these patterns in, and it just goes off and it zooms around and it sews everything and quilts everything for you. But on a general sewing machine, on a thing that most of us have at home, you don't have that facility to make those kind of complicated quilting. These allow you to make something that looks so professional, but you're able to do it at home using your own machine and just using a simple foot that goes onto your machine. Very, very simple and easy, but you can get a really fantastic finish.
I absolutely love them.
They're really clever, aren't they? Yeah. Really clever.
Really, really useful. If you would like to get them, we've found the fourth one. We found it. Oh, it was ridiculously exactly where I'd left it. How silly. So this is the one that I was missing, just to let you know of the shape. So you are getting the medallion, you are getting the kaleidoscope, we have got in there the mandala, and we have got the petal. Again, this is not a drill. Saving over £53, saving over $74. Although you're saving over £53, it's less than 20 quid. I know, it's epic. So now is your time to have a go if you fancy it. If you love a bargain as well, and you like a little bit of a surprise, may I suggest to you a lucky dip. Now, we have got 3/4 of the stock gone on this, so it's not time to dilly or dally, no shilly or shallying either. Go and grab as many of these as you want, remembering that once you get to 8, we may well be giving to you some duplicates. Less than 8, you will get different items each time. For just £2, you may get this. For just £2, you may get this. For just £2, you may get all of these. Kadumph. For £2, you may get, look at this, I love, you can make little dresses. Also, I will remind you that with these, you could always use these on cards as well. You could use these with thicker cards. Imagine doing like little paper dresses for your dolls and things like that. Do you remember how you used to when you were younger? You used to cut them out. You used to cut them out with the little flaps, didn't you? Yeah. And you put them over. All of these things you could be getting for just £2. There is no way A full amount like this of fat quarters should be £2, but today it is. Why? I know, we're just feeling generous. So all of these could be an opportunity for you today, including the likes of masses of thread. So seize the moment on these ones. Again, treat yourself whilst you can. Now, if you haven't used multimedia dies before, may I suggest to you your cutting plates for fabric. Now, the reason I'm suggesting these is you are going to use the exact same Gemini die machine that you would for your paper crafts. You're even going to use the exact same, base plate and top plate if you so wish. If you want those to last and not warp and be etched in as much, these are what you need. They are sturdy. I'll be honest with you, they do look a little bit like two normal metal plates, don't they? You know the metal shims we get in with our pack? These are not. They are much stronger. There's two in there together. So you're getting an A plate and a B plate. You flip, change or reverse them just as you would really a normal plate to give you longevity. This pack here is for your junior size. So junior size here. I've then got the OG, the original Gemini size for you here. Again, really super duper sturdy. We'll etch into these, but they won't damage your normal plates as much. So that's fabulous. Big discount on these again, saving 25%. Then I've got me 12 by 12s here for you. So this one is for your pro, and ones like this and the OG, by the way, even the larger dies I've got on today, like the backpack, will fit onto them. And then I've got for you the big one, and this one is your 12 by 18. As you can see, absolutely mammoth. So this one is for your pro if you've got that one. Again, really good discount, UK only, just to let you know with these. So do just remember that, bear that in mind if you will. Now, I did mention the bags, and I have to say that I have got an offer here that I am quite jealous of. I have got some of these wonderful die sets, and I paid more than you are today for them. But you know what? I don't mind, because it was so worth it, because they are phenomenal. You can make with these different styles of bags that are unique, individual, and in my opinion highly sellable. So these are just examples of what you can make. You've got lovely circular bag here. Remember, you can make the straps kind of as long as you want with the dies in here. Then I've got for you this one, which we have got, which is the kind of satchel design. You can put a little handle on the top as well as an over the body. Again, make these however long or short you wish, but they are beautiful. You can add pockets if you want to. Great for beginners as well, I would say. And then the one that I'm working on at home at the moment, you have got your backpack as well. The backpack's just so lovely. And again, a lot of space in here, a lot of fun to be had. You can make these for yourself, your grandchildren. You could make them for mums to be, maybe, as like baby bags and things. There's loads you could do with them, especially when they are that price on your screen. I can't believe you're getting that deal. That is astonishing. So if you do want to seize the moment, now is your chance, because from my memory, the backpack alone is about £25. So you've got a really great deal on these ones today. Again, 11 elements in there for you. And we have got a demo with the backpack, right?
With the backpack, yeah. And it's almost like we talked about this beforehand. It's like, you were saying about your nails and the fabric, how they all
matching.
Match.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But we didn't talk about it.
No, we didn't.
So you're going to be getting your dies. Now, they do have instructions on the inside here, but they're not detailed instructions. We do have videos on our website, and they are absolutely well worth watching to get an idea of how to do these things. Some people are more visual learners, and other people like to read instructions. I find the videos are really, really helpful, and if you get lost, you can watch them again. If you put the top of your backpack on the bottom of your backpack, like Becky did, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know.
So these are our multimedia dies. So again, these are what we were saying. If you're going to be using these a lot, they're definitely worth having those fabric plates, because these are a little bit deeper than your normal paper cutting dies. And you can tell that these are multimedia dies because they are a different colour. They're this kind of coppery kind of colour. So you've got 4 different pieces here. So if I take them all out, I can show you exactly what you need to put together. So with your bags, you need to decide how rigid you want your bags to be, how structured you want them to be. Excuse me. So depending on that is obviously what kind of fabric you want to use and what kind of interfacing and or wadding you want to use on these as well. So we've got this piece here. This makes the main parts of that bag. So you've only got half of the dies. So what we do is we're going to fold this fabric in half at the fold line here, and we're going to run it through the Gemini machine, and then you'll get a whole piece, that kind of size. And each of these dies work in exactly the same way. So this is for the flap of the bag. So again, we fold the fabric here, and then we cut this out here. This forms the base of the bag here, and this is for the strap. So they work in exactly the same way. You just need to fold your fabric here, and you will then get that full shape piece. So for your bag, you'll need to cut 1 of each in lining fabric, 1 of each in outer fabric, and then you'll need to cut them out of either your wadding, your batting, or your interfacing, depending on what you're going to be, how you're going to be structuring your bag. You can use a thick foam if you want something that's really, really structured. It's entirely up to you the kind of thing that you want to do. If you're going to be using something like a heavy denim, you probably won't need a huge amount of sort of wadding or anything inside it, because it's got quite a big, deep structure. But if you're going to be using a cotton lawn, for example, so something that's very fine and very soft, you'll need to use something that's sort of fairly rigid inside, just to get everything looking sort of solid. Obviously, it's entirely up to you. Some people prefer kind of slouchy bags. Other people prefer something a little bit more structured. But with a backpack, you probably want a bit of structure in there. So I've already cut out my lining pieces. So I've cut out 2 lining pieces of the main body of the bag, and you would cut 2 of the outer fabric as well. And then you would cut 1 of the base of the bag in your lining fabric, and 1 in the base in your outer fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew these 2 pieces together along these sides here, using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'll just pop them together. So again, just using a normal running stitch, 2.5 millimeters stitch length. So I really like the idea of being able to make these for, a new mum. I think that's a really good idea. Or a child at school, in their backpack.
Really big in fashion right now. This is a really clueless 90s backpack, and I love it. That's why I made this one first, because I'm going to be wearing it all the time.
So I love the fact that it's 90s, because it means I can get my daughter wearing all my old clothes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sure she's champing at the bit to wear some sort of 90s stuff.
Yeah, well, there you go, sorted.
A bit of hair mascara, do you remember that?
Yes, used to love it. Used to have bright blue just in one singular section in my fringe.
Yeah.
Loved it. For anyone who's new, you just started off and you go back and forward at the start, don't you, when you sew, and at the end of a piece as well. Why is that?
It just gives it sort of solidifies that stitch in place. So particularly with bags, because we're going to be pulling things and turning them around the other way, we don't want the stitching to come loose. Often when I'm doing things quickly, I don't do that if I'm doing demos on the show. But at home you should start and end your stitching at the beginning of event, just with a couple of stitches back and forth. And all machines will have it. Apart from if you had a very, very old sewing machine, they might not have a reverse button, but you would be able to turn the handle on your machine to go back if you didn't have that. Yeah, it's a good habit to get into, to make sure that you do it. So I think the 90s are back because of that programme that was on Netflix, that Fear Street. Did you see that on Netflix? It was all about Fear, 1990. I think it's Fear Street 1994, and I was watching it, and it was, you know, they even had like the clumpy shoes that I remember having.
Oh yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
Silly question, possibly. Yeah. Is it scary, Fear Street?
No.
Is it not?
It's a bit gruesome in a few places, but no, it's not. It's not scary as such. It depends on the kind of thing that you
Find
watch.
scary.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's
I sometimes have to mute EastEnders, which is a soap here in the UK, if that gets a bit too grisly.
Really?
Yeah, EastEnders, by the way, is on at like 7 p.m. at night. Like, kids can watch it. Pre-Watershed. Basically, I'm a wuss, Becky. I'm an absolute wuss.
I haven't watched EastEnders for about 10 years. I didn't realise it was so gruesome.
Well, I thought it was gruesome 10 years ago as well.
I don't like sort of horror films. My sister used to love a horror film, but I've never been keen on it. And I think there was an old film that I remember watching about a crocodile, a pet crocodile that being flushed down the toilet, and then it got you know, there was some kind of nuclear waste, and it become massive, and it, you know, wandered around the whole of New York City, terrorising people. And I watched that with my parents. My dad went into the garage, into his workshop, and suddenly I noticed this thing slithering across the floor, and it was this giant crocodile that we had in the swimming pool, which was like a big blow up lilo thing. But in the dark, it was my dad coming out, and they were slithering. That was horrible.
Your mum and your dad sound like such mischief makers.
My dad was exactly the kind of thing my dad would do. You know, it was horrible. And he must have been thinking all the way through this film, oh, this is going to frighten her.
Yeah.
And I think I was only about 10. Horrible thing to do.
That's brilliant.
So I've sewn down either side here, and then I've folded this piece in half, and I'm just going to mark it with a pen. So you could use tailor's chalk here, or our mark away. But I'm just going to use a pen here, and then I'm also going to fold it this way in half, and I'm going to mark it. So if you did watch the show earlier on today, I was making another bag, and I was doing it a very similar sort of situation where we need to find the middles of things. So in order to match up curves against straight edges. So that's all I'm doing here. So we want our bag to be shaped like this. So we want the longer piece across here. So I'm going to open up my bag.
At the shortest end?
Yes.
Not like what I did, which is
at
the top end.
Yeah, not there.
Yeah,
because that's the top.
Yeah. No, I know as soon as I finish sewing it.
But this is it's part of the process, isn't it? It's part of the fun. Yeah. Part of the fun. So I would have used quilting clips here, but I appear to have dropped most of them on the floor. But I'm going to use a couple here. So I'm just going to attach it here and attach here as well. So these are using my circular points, my middle points here. So you can use your pins as well. I mean, obviously with the lining, it's not thick. But the quilting pins are particularly useful. Pins are particularly useful when you actually put in the whole bag itself together. And then I'm going to take this part here. I'm going to match up that point with that seam there.
Lovely.
And that's sort of where I'm going to attach. So I know that these are like my anchor points, effectively.
People messaging in. Some people talking about the storage boxes. Pammy is saying, I have one of those big storage boxes just full of tape pens.
Oh.
You can fit 34 inside. Oh, I love that. Thanks for that, Pammy. You're a doll. Deborah's in saying, these are very pretty designs about the bags that we were showing you earlier on. Don't forget, if you do want to create the bags, we've got a huge discount on them, so do feel free to seize the moment on those ones. And another thing that I would mention as well is that if you do want to get in touch with us on social, it's Colleen looking after you today, and you can find us on YouTube and the likes of, well, all these at the bottom of your screen, right down there, look, I look tiny up here, they're right down there. So if you do want to message us, you can. We were just mentioning then with this backpack, it's got a touch of the 90s about it. If you were to bring back any decade of clothing style, what would it be and why? Would it be the 90s for you, Becky?
Gosh, no.
No?
No.
Oh, go on then. What would it be for you?
I would say the 50s.
Oh my goodness, me too.
I love like that kind of 50s kind of dress. My mum she used to make all her own dresses in the 50s, and like big, like tight bodice and big flared kind of skirts with long gloves. My mum had a box with all her different gloves in.
Wow.
I think that is sort of an iconic time, so I think I would go for something like that.
Well, I think, well, I don't know, is this dress I've got on kind of 50s?
I think so, yeah.
It's
yeah.
like
You definitely have a bit of a, you have a bit of a 50s vibe,
50s
I think.
vibe. Well, then mine would be 50s, because I do like this sort of thing, yeah. Oh, definitely. Do let us know at home, what would your era of fashion be to bring back, and why?
Or what one would you never want to bring back?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not keen on flares, but my daughter loves flares.
Oh, flares are back in
yeah,
as well,
they
actually,
are back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when you go out in the rain in flares and jean flares, and the water sort of soaks up, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, there were some funny fashions, weren't there? You know, but I did. You know, back in the 80s, I mean, I wore a lot of electric blue.
Oh, I love that colour though.
I wouldn't want to wear it now.
Oh,
but
no, I like it.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's I find it quite well. Actually, the top I'm wearing is pretty much electric blue.
I was just going to say that, but I didn't want to upset you.
I got different colouring now to the colouring I had when I was a teenager. I think you know.
I get you.
Yeah, it's mostly grey hair now.
Oh, Rhonda is saying the 1920s for me.
Oh,
Is that kind of flapper girl, is
yeah.
it? Tassels, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so, and long necklaces.
Oh, yeah. Like ropes and ropes of pearls and things like that. Oh, that sounds gorgeous. Yes, I like that. Diane is saying the 1950s as well.
Yeah.
I quite like the 50s for female clothes because it was very sort of womanly shaped, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you know.
And you do look at, I mean, I whilst I love 1920s, it was very much sort of a boy kind of shape, wasn't it? It was very sort of, you know, very sort of skinny.
Straight up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right with this is a classic example of how good those bobbin holders are, because I've got a bit of thread that's stuck in here that I've sewn into my lining of my bag. So that's sort of a classic example of, you know, what not to do. So I've stitched around the outside of here, and ideally, because you've got a you know, a curve here, we would just snip into the curve. So everything lies flat. So similar kind of situation to what we did before with the other bag that I did earlier today. Now I'm going to show you, so I've done exactly the same there as here, or the other way around. So this is my, the actual body of the bag.
I love that fabric.
with I've just used ordinary wadding in here, so that iron-on wadding. So I am going to just trim or cut into these pieces around here, because actually on the lining it's not going to matter so much, but it will matter on the actual bag that we get it looking nice and flat.
It makes it a bit more malleable, doesn't it, in a way?
It does, yeah. And I think, you know, one of the good things to remember is when you're making a bag is if you can, when you're sort of finishing it off, if you can top stitch everything and give it a really good press, you get a really nice finish to it. And also using sort of good quality sort of bits and pieces, you know, like hardware, like buttons and things, then that's quite good to have. So that makes a bit of a difference.
Great.
So I've got that here. So that's my bag outside with the wadding in it, and I've already put a popper snap fastener attached to one of those on the inside here. The next part of the bag is the flap. So the flap is made slightly differently. So you cut two pieces, one out of lining, one out of the outside piece of fabric, and also obviously your wadding. And you place them together, right sides together, and you stitch around the outside, and then you turn it the right way round. And then you get, I've just top stitched around the outside here. So it's made in a slightly different way. So this is effectively a completely finished flap of the bag. So what I'm going to do now is I'm hoping that this is all going to work round the right way. What I am going to do, which is something that I should have done earlier. I'm always doing this. So I sewed all the way around this bag.
Yeah.
And what I should have done is left a little gap so I can turn it round. So I'm just going to take this out, this stitching here. So this is like classic. I do this every single time I make a bag. So you were putting things in the wrong place. I've sewn bits up that I shouldn't have done.
Yeah, but at least yours is an easy fix.
Well,
I'm thinking of just sticking with mine now. What do you think?
I think so. Why not? I mean, just because it's that shape, you know, on the brochure, on the outside of the kit, why do you have to make it that shape?
Yeah, totally.
I think you just go with the flow, and if you like,
and when it looks rubbish and nothing like the picture, it's just a bit unique, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's 90s. It's
yes,
90s.
It's so 90s.
So I'm just going to unpick here. So obviously, if I'd done this properly, I would have stopped while I was sewing, and I would have gone back and forth a couple of times to finish off the stitching on either side.
And how much would you have left yourself? A couple of inches?
A little bit more than that. I'd say about 3 or 4 inches, really.
Okay.
It doesn't really. You don't. You want to make your life as easy as possible. So the bigger the gap, the easier it is to turn the bag the right way round. Otherwise, you're going to be ending up sort of really struggling to turn it round the right way. Oh, I can't believe I did that.
Diane is saying, I was born in 1959, so I missed the 50s. And I was too young to enjoy the 60s. I hated the 70s, 80s, 90s. Well, hopefully the noughties were kinder to you. Thanks for letting us know that, Diane. Crafty AJ is saying the 1920s was just so gorgeous and people really dressed to impress. So stylish. That's such a good way of putting it, actually. It was glam, wasn't it, the 20s?
And I think that we look at fashions depending on what's on television, and I think Downton Abbey had a really big influence in that kind of thing, and I think it finished off in the 1920s, didn't it? So you've got that kind of appeal to it, but also with Bridgerton, everyone was watching that, totally. And now we're all thinking Regency outfits, but totally. Again, that's something else that if you're wearing at the supermarket, they give you funny looks, or they give me funny looks. Turning up in a ball ground.
You in one of those dresses and your fabric crown.
Exactly. I mean, they just keep away from the crazy lady. Right, I'm hoping this is all going to work. So I've got my bag, which is inside out, and I've got my flap of my bag, which I'm going to place inside my bag here. So let's make sure I've got it round the right way. So I'm going to place that here. I'm just going to make sure, I'm just doing it by eye at the moment, so it's just going to go in here. Now I'm going to be popping in my lining, and I think it goes in this way round. So it goes in looking like this. So you've got right sides together. So this is the right side, like you were talking before. What is right sides together? It's the bit that you want to see. So I'm going to put right sides together, and I'm going to pop that inside here. Oh gosh, I hope this works.
Yeah, of course it will.
It's nerve-wracking. So now it's a case of pinning this together. So I'm going to pin it at the corner first of all. So this is where I really need to get hold of my clips. And I'm going to pin this side here as well. And then when you're sewing this might be a time where you might decide you want to use your walking foot, your quilting walking foot, because you're going to be sewing through multiple layers of fabric. It will be fine today because the fabric I'm using is not particularly thick. But if you were going to be using something heavier, something thicker, and your wadding or your batting inside was going to be thicker, you would then want to do that there. So I'm just going to lift this up, and this is my flap here. So I'll place that here, and I'm just going to pin it round, and then I'm going to sew it all together.
Perfect.
I'm going to use a slightly bigger seam allowance here because I want to make sure I trap all of the bits and pieces in the right place. There we go.
Lots of people getting in touch about the decades. Hello to Laura May, who says, I hated the 70s, but now in hindsight, it was better than the others. The 70s, that kind of look was, yeah, when I think 70s, I think kind of flowing fabric, kind of chilled out, big flares, right, with the 70s.
Yeah.
Big collars.
Yeah, I think so, like big lapels, yeah.
Yeah,
and sort of weird, I remember my father-in-law saying when he went to university, so that would have been the early 70s, late 60s, having a whole load of shirts all made out of nylon. So you could literally just wash them, hang them up, and they were dry. So you didn't have to do any ironing.
That's great.
Okay, so I've pinned that around the edge, so I'm just going to start stitching around, making sure that I've trapped everything together. So do it slowly, don't rush, and I think that's this key thing. And I'm hoping that when I turn it round the right way, it's all going to look correct. If it's not, we're just going to pretend.
No, of course it will.
Okay.
It's going to look better than my upside down bag that's only half done, that's for sure.
Well, maybe that's a new thing, an upside down bag. You know?
Maybe. I mean, it's a useless thing.
I don't imagine it is. I think just because it doesn't conform with what you're expecting doesn't mean it's not a good thing to do.
My family will tell you that's me all over. Hello to Pammy saying the costumes of Downton Abbey are my favourite style. Yes, 1920s fashion was and is so lovely, very classy. Classy is the perfect word for the 20s, I think.
But it was a debauched time, wasn't it? It was lots of sort of parties and, drinking and all that kind of thing. But
it's prohibition, isn't it, the 1920s?
Yeah. My parents went to a 1920s wedding, not in the 1920s, they're not that old, but it's 1920s themed wedding on ice.
Wow, okay, that is extra.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, are you trying to tell me that the bride and groom didn't walk down the aisle, they skated down the aisle?
The wedding reception was at an ice rink, so it was a very well-known ice skater. Who my mum used to make his costumes for his shows.
Was he an Olympian?
I'm not sure, actually. He
did he have a female partner?
No, well he did at one point, but it's not Torval and Dean.
Right, okay.
But it was a guy called Nicky Slater.
Oh, that rings a bell.
Who was one of the original judges on Dancing on Ice. But it was a long time ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I thought actually that would be quite cool to have a kind of themed wedding. I mean, I don't think an ice skating wedding would be very good for me. I'm very, very clumsy. But I've always thought actually that would be something I'd like to do, dancing on ice, learn how to ice skate.
Oh,
maybe one day.
It looks so majestic. I think again I'm a bit too much of a wuss for ice skating.
It's quite dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not...
Well, it's hard, it's cold, there's slicey things on your feet.
Yep.
And I'm not very well coordinated, so it's not for me.
No, I think we've basically talked ourselves out of ever doing that, haven't we?
It was a good idea for a solid 7 seconds.
I don't think it's something I should ever do. But really cool idea to have a themed wedding. I'm trying to convince my niece who's getting married, which I keep talking about because I'm very excited. So I'm helping her organise her wedding, and I did say, why don't you go for theme? But I don't think I'm going to convince her.
No,
but I'll try.
Yeah.
Right. Here is the moment of truth. So now Oh, I hope this works. So if I find my little gap,
Yeah.
and then I just need to turn the bag through here. Oh,
Look how
waiting with
great that fabric
bated
is.
breath.
It's beautiful,
It's
isn't
so
it?
pretty. I wish I had more of it, really. Oh my goodness, it sort of worked. Yay! So I'm going to tuck the lining in. There we go.
That's
And
great.
it's almost finished. Apart from that, I've put the round on the wrong way, but I'm not talking about that.
Look
Let's
how
do about that.
brilliant. Oh, I'm looking forward to the rest of this. Right, we'll come back to you in a moment. Before that, though, let me remind you, this just in. Over 80% of my stock has now gone on the lucky dip. Long one short, it's £2 or $2, and you might get this, you might get this, you might get this, you might get this. All you know is that you are going to be getting yourself a real steal of a deal. You might get multimedia dyes, you might get on a spool threads, you might get fabrics. You don't know exactly, but I can guarantee you that you're going to be paying just £2 or $2 for them. If you would like to get more than 8, you might get duplicates. Up to 8 though, you're all good. So do seize the moment on them. Very, very popular. Speaking of popular, let me do a quick stock update, if I may, on my new fabrics, which are beautiful. The one that Becky's working with right now is in this stash. It's low in stock though, so let me show you, if I may. Here we've got your red foliage. As a reminder, 0.5 meters you're going to be getting, but say you bought 3 sets of this, you would get a full 1.5 meters, and they're really nice long lengths that you get, so you're going to be able to make plenty of with these. Red foliage. I've also got your 50% of my stock has gone on that one. Red pattern we have got here for you. 20% on this one gone. Really nice unisex. Is it just me, or does it make you think of bikers a little bit? Not like cling cling. Yes. Yeah. It does me, yeah. Anyway, 20% of the stock gone on that. Then I've got your dove design here. Now there's 30% of this has gone. This one is popular. Cindy said earlier, I think the dove print will be appropriate for a couple experiencing grief. My friends are both churchgoers, and the quilter is the fabric lady at the craft store, has access to many patterns, but this dove will be very special, placed to my order. Well done to you on that, and I completely agree. Yeah, for grieving people, for weddings, the dove of peace, beautiful idea. Let's move on to this one, which is what Becky's crafting with at the moment. It's your blue foliage. 50% of the stock is gone on this one. I absolutely adore it, and a lot of you do as well. These ones are the ones that have the most gold on, and that gold is like a luminous. It's beautiful. Not stopping there though, I've also got the blue pattern. Again, same one as the red design, but different colour. This is the one that Becky made this beautiful bag with earlier on. So just to give you an idea of how it looks whilst it's finished. Limited stock again on this one. I've also got the trees, very, very, very popular. Hardly any of these ones left, like at all. Limited stock, handful. So do seize the moment, please. Finally, it's your blue doves. 50% of the stock gone on this. The tree has been our most popular. This one is nipping at its heels. Do seize the moment. I want to give you an opportunity, if I may, to check out your baskets on these, especially this one, just in case you've got it in your basket. I don't want you to forget about it and then for it to have sold out when you come to check out. So if you fancy it, take a moment or two so you can check out your baskets. We'll be back with more crafting after this.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
Quiet. The neighbours.
I'm all out of Zoom. I'm so lost without you. I'm not singing.
Lisa, if you email in, don't send a picture of your air fryer. Make sure it's something creative.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
You entertain us. You give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
Joy, there's not a dry eye in the studio here. Debbie's welling up, I'm welling up.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV. Create every day.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the Crafters Companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every pound, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Quick Buy, all your crafty must-haves in a flash. Make light work of intricate and delicate die-cutting designs with the Pokey Tool from Crafters Companion. An absolute essential part of any paper crafter's kit, its precise tip has been designed to release the tiniest pieces to reveal your finished results with absolute precision. And to make sure your finished project is perfect, each Pokey Tool has a rubber tip protector, so there's no risk of damaging your die-cutting design or yourself. The Crafters Companion Pokey Tool is such an essential craft item, we've included 2 in each set. Quick Buy, get yours now.
Hi, welcome back to Crafters TV. How on earth is your Friday going? One step closer to the weekend. In fact, in the UK, I think you've got about 15 minutes until it's officially the weekend. If this weekend you are planning on doing a little bit of spring cleaning, you may well be thinking, oh, I hope I've got enough storage for me dyes and for all my tools and now for all the new fabric I've been buying. And if that is you, may I suggest you treat yourself to our Stash and Stack. We have got for you here a wonderful storage solution which you could use for pretty much anything you set your mind to. It's great for crafting materials, but it's also great for people who maybe garden, people who maybe collect things like thimbles. We've got something here for everyone to get involved with. You can use the base just as it is without the sections in it, but you do get loads of movable storage selections, which means you can take these down to around about an inch in size slots all the way up to the full length of the box. Again, $11.99 or $19.99 individually, but today if you want to, you can get 3 for £30 or $50. Brilliant opportunity there. Let me also remind you, if I may, of our builder block. Today's builder block that we brought to you. We've had a couple of demos on, and it is one that looks really intricate, but because of our fabulous dies, the hard work is done for you. And you can create beautiful detailed designs such as this. If you were to cut all of this out by hand, it may well be slightly wonky, it may well be a little bit more time consuming. With this precise, quick and easy, but oh blimey, it looks gorgeous. We've got for you a discount of 30% on this one today. So there's loads you can do with this. It comes with an instruction manual, but also don't forget, save the show, because you can watch back on a demo that Becky did earlier on. So head on over and save this show if you'd like to treat yourself. Let me remind you, we've had bag dies on today. Now these mean that you can create your own types of bags in this set anyway, 3 different styles, and you can use them over and over and over again. So these are the types of designs that you can make, okay? So this is one set, this is your satchel. So this is a really cute one. It can go over the body, and you've got the opportunity to build pockets within this as well. Really nice deep size on that. Don't forget, you can make that handle however long you want. Then I've got for you as well, your circular bag. These two, you'll be able to make on the likes of your junior, because it's not a full sheet. You kind of fold the fabric with the die. So you'll be able to do these two. This one's really cute. Again, it's got a 90s vibe about it, the circular bag, hasn't it? Imagine doing this in like orange fabric and decorating it to look like a segment of orange or a segment of lime or something. That'd be kind of cool. And then I've got for you the backpack. This is one of my absolute favorites. I'm working on it at the minute, as is Becky. So we're going to have a look at what she's made with this. Just as a reminder, you are saving a massive amount on this today. I mean, huge. Especially as this one by itself is around the £25 to £27 mark. £29.99 for you today. Becky, we are talking bags and die cutters. Yep. Where are we up to next?
So I'm going to make the strap. So I'm not using, I'm not making the big straps for the backpack. I'm just going to make a handle that goes on the top of the backpack. So it's almost like a kind of, I sort of thought of it as being like an iPad kind of bag, or, you know, you put your tablet in it, rather than using it as specifically as a backpack.
Oh.
So I just wanted something a little bit different.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
You know, I've made a crown. Now I'm making a bag. So if only my children were small enough to want to wear a backpack or a crown to school, but never mind, we live in hope. So I'm going to be using this little die. So this is the one. You'll see these in all of the bag making dies. They look a little bit strange. You've got a little notch here, and some of them are a little bit longer and they have a notch here. They're a way of being able to show you how to put your fabric and cut it to a certain length. So for these, you would use them for the straps. So you make sure your straps are all a nice sort of even width, but you can make them as long as you want, or you can use them for other little straps. So you might have a bag, like the satchel has got little tabs on the side of the bag where you put your D-rings. Again, they're all cut in exactly the same way. So I've got some of our faux leather, oh, not faux leather, faux suede here. And I'm going to place that just over this edge. This is a cutting edge here. And then fold it just back at that little notch. And then I'm going to put that through my Gemini.
Just to let you know, we have got those cutting plates in today for your fabric. Actually, whilst you're running that through the cutter, strangely enough, Joanne, before you even mentioned faux leather, asked a question. If you use the faux leather, would you need a lining for the fabric? I know the seams would show, but they would be clean seams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for making it nice and simple. So yeah, and actually, if you look at this colour, you know, this kind of, this is the outside and this is the inside. So actually having that sort of different colour on the inside is actually really quite nice. I always think it looks lovely having a bag with a different colour on the inside. You know, whether it's a plain bag with a super patterned inside or the other way around, I always think it's nice to have something a bit different. So no, I would just use it as is. I wouldn't even worry about having a lining. Great. Makes your life easier, doesn't it? Yeah. And that way you can get more bags made in less time.
That's true, and more bags made with less fabric.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's just going to run through the machine. So I'm only cutting one because that sort of faux leather is a little bit thick, but it probably would manage two. So let's put that over there. And then I quite like the way this comes out. It comes out like it reminds me of a Pop-Tart. Doesn't it look like a Pop-Tart? I know what you mean, and so you just sort of pop it and it should just open up. Like so, and so you've got that beautifully cut. So we're going to put right sides together. So the right sides are these pieces here, the coloured pieces, and we're going to stitch around these sides, and then I'm going to flip it over. So this is to make the strap for the bag. So I'm just using, again, the normal 1/4 inch seam allowance that we always use. And I love the way this stitches actually. You know, I was a bit nervous when I first saw it, and I was thinking, oh gosh, but is it going to cut the way or sew the way, you know, like leather, or is it going to sew like normal fabric? But it's actually really simple, and it just sews with a normal needle. Don't have to worry about changing to a leather needle.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's a really good product.
Oh, that's really nice. Evangeline's got her eye on some pretty fabrics. Smiley face, smiley face. Rhonda is saying, we were talking decades earlier on of clothing. Rhonda is saying, I love the 20s because it was when women were finally starting to come into their own. That is so true, Rhonda. And you sense all of that in fashion, right? It's kind of flirtatious, it's fun, it was very feminine in a way, although kind of some of the shapes were slightly androgynous, but I totally get what you mean. There was that wonderful tactility about the 20s, definitely.
It's funny, there was I remember at college they were talking about during the First and the Second World War, I think sales of lipsticks soared because women wanted to feel better about themselves, and there's sort of like a correlation between you know, sort of looking glamorous and feeling better.
Yeah.
And then more recently with the you know, like the pandemic, they were saying the sales of lipsticks plummeted because obviously no one could see your lips because you're always wearing masks.
Yeah.
So no, whereas a lipstick manufacturer would have thought they were going to be fine for a long time. Actually, you know, with the pandemic, no one wears lipstick anymore.
No.
So I've just sewed around the outside, and I'm just going to trim the corners off here. So, and then I'm going to turn that round. So this is just a way of you know, making sure that your seams are hidden, and then we would top stitch over the top of this to finish it off. So just a little bit of fiddling around. I do love these colours, and I thought this colour of this this sort of
Faux suede.
yeah, it lends itself to the colours of these fabrics, doesn't it? It's all those kind of turquoisey blue colours, and they do look lovely.
They are beautiful colours. They're almost like Mediterranean colours, aren't they? Some elements in there of like Caribbean ocean colours as well. It's beautiful.
We're always so lucky with the fabrics that we get here. You know, it's always something a little bit different, and I love it when I get my you know, my little parcel on it with all the products that I need to work with, so I can see what there is. It's very exciting. There you go. So I'll just move around here. So generally at home, I use a little chopstick to just get these little points out. So you just spend a little bit more time there. And then I would just sort of fold across here, and then stitch around here.
Lovely.
To finish it off, and then pop it onto my bag.
Great. We will be doing demo of the show any moment now, so get ready to start voting.
So I'm going to have my bag this way because I think it makes it look a little bit more different.
Love
so
it.
yeah, I
Nice
quite like this.
contrast.
So I'm going to sew that onto here. This needs to be sewn flat first of all, but this is going to sew onto here. So that is going to make the handle of my bag rather than using it as a backpack.
Love that. Becky, do you mind doing me a favour just
Yeah.
before you sort of sew any more? Will you get out your previous makes
Yeah.
from the show so that we can start voting, because I'm well aware of time, and poor Colleen will be like, 1, 2, 3, the tally. So if you would like to vote on demo of the show, we had a few different makes. If Becky, you could remind us of those.
So we have the crown,
That was make number 1, the crown. Beautiful.
or you could make it as a belt.
Ooh, I wear belts like that.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Then we had the block, which is made into a cushion front.
Lovely. So that's number 2.
And then we've got the bag here.
Which is number 3. So if you can get voting for us, this is how you do it. Information at the bottom. 1, 2 or 3. Colleen, good luck in your counting. Whilst you are voting, let me quickly remind you of our goodie lucky bag. limited stock, and by that I mean way over 80% gone, way over. Looks like it's closer to 90 now, but if you it is 90% exactly. I've just been told exactly that is gone. So if you do want to seize the moment, these should not really cost £2 each, but they're going to in this lucky dip. As a reminder, you don't know what you're going to get. If you get over 8, you may well get duplicates. Less than that though, you won't. £2, £2, £2. You don't know what you're going to get, but that's part of the fun of it. This is limited stock, 90% of the stock gone on that. So if you do want to treat yourself, now is your time. We've got to close the show already. It's launch day on the way for you today. Do not forget, you've got those creative expressions coming up in a little bit. Just whilst we are waiting for the end of this, Becky, when are you next in with us?
Next Friday, I'm going to be here for Wake Up Call next Friday.
Perfect. So we will keep our peepers peeled for you. Thank you very much, as always. Thank you to you at home as well for joining us today. I'm looking down because I'm seeing if we're getting a winner through. If we don't worry, we will let you know on socials which one of those makes has won. Coming up for you, you've got your launch party in a little bit. If you like gnomes and hearts, then you are definitely going to be smiling. The demo squeaks in. It's number 2.
Oh, this one.
The cushion cover. That one won. Becky, thank you so much as always. Thank you for joining us. I will hope to be with you very soon. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Mwah!